Have you heard from groups who have reopened?
Yeah. For us in Metro Manila, we're actually lucky that myself, I started teaching and getting back in the water around August. And some opened with the guidance of the LGU and all the safety measures in place, I believe, sometime July. But what's happening now is I would like to share my first trip. So my first trip was with two students of mine who were brave enough to want to check if we can already start diving. Initially, I told them, normally Ralph knows this, we leave really early in the morning. So we would be at the site really early. But during that time, I had my hesitations. I told them, I think checkpoints are still in place. Better to leave when sunlight is already there. Maybe I'll pick you up at around 6. And then on our way to the resort, we were driving. We were a bit hesitant. Will there be checkpoints? Will we be flagged down? And then as soon as we get to the resort, we followed the normal protocols, temperature check, health declaration forms, and everything. Of course, keeping social distancing and mask. And then everything started to brighten up. We saw the water. We feel energized already. And then we got on the boat and started diving. And then for that overnight trip, for that weekend, it felt that COVID didn't happen at all. So we had like our small bubble, having our fun time. We did 5 dives during the weekend. Of course, still being worried a bit not to be too close to each other, but we were chatting. We were sharing our experiences. We were talking about the dives that we just did, and it's very refreshing because it energized us. And on the way back home, we were actually talking that we're now slowly going back to reality, but that was a good escape. So I believe this is the experience that we are selling and we are offering. It's not just diving. It's about mental health. It's about trying to win your lives back again. I believe we lost so much months being in lockdown. Some of us spent our time wisely and, of course, did other productive things. But the time that we lost, we cannot bring back anymore. So I think what diving can offer is slowly to give you the quality of life and the fun that you had before all this incident happened, and hopefully replace those bad memories and bad news with more positive ones. And yeah, all the shops are geared towards the new normal. They've adapted in terms of restaurants, in terms of operations. I'm very proud to say that most of the places that I visited in Mabini, I was really active the past few months. I think you can only count the days that I'm in Metro Manila. I'm always out there diving. I've been in Puerto Galera also. The guys at Puerto Galera have been doing a good job implementing the rules, preventing any infections to take place, and at the same time, be able to restart normal diving operations as close to the previous normal as we can get. But I believe what we have now is actually better because everyone took the advantage to realign their operation and their plan to better serve the divers. Yes, Ralph.
Girls, I'm also interested with the people who are supporting our industry, like the boat operators, the boatmen, the weekender staff that are being hired by the resorts that we stay with. Were you able to talk to them, and how does those initial reopening had a good impact to them?
The part-time staff and the boat crew really got hit badly during the pandemic. But the nice thing about the community is we always help each other. There are really conscientious dive operators and dive professionals who have other jobs, like what Andy said. They not put everything in one basket, and we all did our part, sharing something. So during that time, we did some giving away of supplies, rice, and other essentials that they can use just to be able to get by during that time until we can start to restart just like now. And what the professionals and operators are doing is, of course, we're calling them back in again and giving them new opportunities so that slowly we can all go back to what it used to be and maybe better. Yes.
Yeah, I can just imagine their smile, welcoming us back in their place and bringing us to our dive destinations. How about in your case, Andy? Have you heard from groups who have reopened, probably not only in the Philippines, but also other parts of the region? And can you share some of the experiences?
Yeah, for sure. So what we are seeing in the Philippines is pretty much what we went through in Thailand earlier this year, right? When things got a little bit more relaxed and when the waters got open again, we saw the domestic market booming basically, right? People want to go diving. And the first ones into the water are the dive professionals and the dive staff. And we see exactly the same thing in Molboal. We see the same thing in Puerto Calera, like my colleague just said, right? But also Malapascua. We see dive centers actually taking on their own staff, their boat boys, right? Their captains, people work around the dive shops and do further training with them, right? They do a dive master course with them, maybe an instructor course and so on. And they really want to go into the water, but also help that dive community there to maybe have a better life afterwards, right? And get a different job. Maybe don't be a boat boy anymore, be really a dive master and so on, right? And we see exactly the same thing in the Philippines. Philippines open up mainly all the areas just in November for domestic travel, right? And we saw immediately an increase on domestic certifications. We at PADI, of course, we measure everything. We try to trace and measure and find out and see what everybody's doing, right? And call people and ask them all kinds of questions. So we definitely look at domestic certifications and we saw a big increase, right? We only by 30% down compared to last year, which is actually a really good number. And that's just in November, right? December, the month is not yet done, but that was a really good jump from minus 99% down compared to last year up to bang. We are really seeing people being enthusiastic, having this COVID fatigue, wanting to go to the water. So that's gonna help, right? Like we all eager to do. Just like we said, I'm sticking my head out under the water as much as I can as well, right? I'm going on a trip actually next week to see friends in a different place in Thailand as well. And I'm definitely going to go diving, right? Diving is awesome. And we leave the world behind and we go down there and we switch off for a moment and things are good, right? And then we come back and okay, we go back to reality. But for that moment, it's a happy time and that's awesome.
Yeah, take care always, Andy and George, as you continue on in your activities.